Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the NBA slate on DraftKings and Yahoo for Wednesday, April the 24th. Two-game NBA slate today. Going to go through each position, talk about some of the guys that I like on this two-game slate. We will work our way through the player pool. And of course, like always, I will give my 5 plays for DraftKings, 5 plays for Yahoo. These are 5 players that I do specifically like for each site. Just before we do get started, guys, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like down below. And if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Would really appreciate it if you would subscribe. I'm putting these NBA videos out daily, trying to get out as much NBA content as I can during the playoffs. Also making MLB videos daily. So you're going to want to make sure you subscribe so that way you don't miss out on any of my new videos. But starting off at point guard, looking at point guard today, James Harden, the most expensive option. 10,400 on DraftKings. He's pretty easy to fit in on DK. On Yahoo, it's a bit of a tougher story, or it's a bit of a different story. It's a bit tougher to fit him in. He's only $60, or he's $60 over here, which is pretty expensive. He's at shooting guard, which I do like. I like that he's at shooting guard and he's shooting guard eligible. But him being $60 makes it really hard to fit him in, just because there's other guys you want to play. Like if we look at small forward, Kevin Durant's a guy that I definitely want to try and get in here. Really, there's only 2, maybe 3 small forwards you're going to be playing on Yahoo. It's either Durant, Ingles, or Royce O'Neal. So I'm probably going to be trying to pay up for Durant on Yahoo as much as I can, which is going to make it tough to fit in Harden as well. But on DraftKings, their pricing's a little bit softer during the playoffs. So 10,400 for Harden's pretty easy to work around today. Harden didn't have that great of a game in Game 4. Only had 42 DraftKings points, his worst game of the series. Fantasy-wise, I would expect Harden to bounce back here. At 10,400, it's very likely he returns good value on this price tag. He's going to play huge minutes if this game is competitive, probably close to 40 minutes. Houston obviously wants to win this game. Go ahead and close out the series. Go ahead and get ready for the next round. So paying up for James Harden on DraftKings I think makes a ton of sense. On Yahoo, he's a bit tougher to fit in. If you can get to him, that's fine, but on DraftKings, that's where I'm really trying to go to Harden. On Yahoo, I think playing a guy like Chris Paul makes a ton of sense. Chris Paul's 33 over on Yahoo. I do really like him over here because if we just look at the point guard position, you're either probably paying up for Paul or Curry, going to a guy like Rubio, or you're going cheap with a guy like Patrick Beverley, who I do like quite a bit today. Chris Paul, though, at 33 on Yahoo definitely stands out if you can't get up to Curry. Or if you do want to save, I guess you could go down to Rubio. But Paul's coming off a very good game. In Game 4, he had his best game of the series, where he put up 23, 8, and 7 with 5 steals, 2 blocks, 60 fantasy points. I think if you don't play James Harden on Yahoo, then Chris Paul is probably a guy you should be looking to. Same could be said for DraftKings. If you don't play James Harden on DraftKings, I think you definitely want to play Chris Paul, just assuming that Harden doesn't have that great of a game. It's probably going to be because Paul does really well. Like we saw last game, Harden didn't have that great of a game, and Chris Paul went off, so same thing could happen here. You could have both guys do well. It would not surprise me at all if both guys did well. Harden I prefer on DraftKings. Chris Paul I prefer on Yahoo. That's kind of how it is. Ricky Rubio I like a lot on DraftKings at 5,700. He's a guy that I've just been playing a ton lately. He's done really well in this series. He had one poor game in Game 3 with only 25 DK points, but in Game 4 he played really well, played huge minutes, which was something kind of surprising. Rubio is never a guy that usually plays like close to 40 minutes, but in Game 4 he played 39 minutes, had 42 DK points, had a really good game. Game 2 was okay in Game 1 as well. I do like Rubio quite a bit at 5,700, but I think Patrick Beverley at 4,400 is probably my favorite value at this position. And on Yahoo, where he's $17, I like him quite a bit as well. So he had a very good game in the last game in Game 4. Beverly's going to be a risky play kind of from night-to-night basis just because he's not the highest upside play. He's not a guy that's going to go out there and get you 50, 55 DraftKings points on a nightly basis. I think that 42 DK point game he had in Game 4 was kind of an outlier. Beverly's definitely a guy that can rack up defensive stats. He can get some boards. He can get you a double-double. I think you're more likely to get like 30, 35 DK points out of Beverley, which is really good value at 4,400. And he's going to have to play huge minutes. He's their best defender. He's probably their best shot at slowing down guys like Kevin Durant and Steph Curry. So I expect Beverley to be out there as much as he can, as long as he doesn't foul out or get a technical or something and get ejected. I see Beverley playing about 37, 38 minutes, and he probably scores 25, 30 DraftKings points at the least. So at 4,400, I think he's a really good value play if you do want to go to him at this position. But now moving on to shooting guard. Shooting guard's a position where I think you can definitely save and go with a guy like Beverley. If you can get up to Curry or Mitchell, those are probably the two guys I would look to. I think Mitchell's probably my favorite option at 7,600. I really like Kevin Durant today, and he's going to be a priority for me. And I think I'm going to play him over Steph Curry. So at shooting guard, my favorite option to pay up for would probably be Donovan Mitchell at 7,600. But you can go cheap here with Patrick Beverley at 4,400. SGA is coming off a very good game in his last game, I think at 4,700. SGA makes a ton of sense as well. Shooting guard, probably want to save with those two guys I mentioned. Moving on to small forward, this is where I really like to pay up Kevin Durant. I love today, 8,200 on DraftKings and $41 on Yahoo. Ever since Boogie Cousins went down in Game 2, I believe, Kevin Durant's just been on another level. His last two games with Boogie out of the lineup, 56 and 52 DraftKings points, 30 and 38 minutes played. Durant's just a more productive player when DeMarcus Cousins is off the floor. He picks up more usage. He's just an overall better fantasy option. And for some reason on DraftKings, his price has dropped down to 8,200 after two very good games. Doesn't really make a ton of sense. I think Durant keeps the scoring going. I think he scores 50-plus DraftKings points again. And at 8,200, he makes for a great play today. I think it's pretty easy to fit him and Harden in together on DraftKings, and that's something I'm going to do quite a bit today. I love going to Durant here. Then also, I'll be going back to Jay Crowder, 4,300 on DK. I really like him. He's still dirt cheap on Yahoo as well at just $14. So Jay Crowder was a guy that I liked a lot in the last game. In Game 4, he started over Derek Favors and played really well. 33 minutes, 34 DraftKings points. He did get off to a very hot start. I think he scored like the first 12 points for the Jazz, which obviously is something you can't expect him to do on a nightly basis. But if he's going to continue to get the minutes, 33, 34 minutes, it's hard to avoid him on a slate where we do want to pay up for studs. He does stand out as a good value at 4,300. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets you 6x value again. Last slate he got like 8x value or 9x value was a great value, but still today where he's still cheap at 4,300, you could see him put up a really good score and be a really good value play again. So I like Jay Crowder quite a bit. I don't think it's really point chasing. When he starts, he just sees more minutes. I usually like when he starts because I think the minutes are a little bit more secure rather than him coming off the bench. So Crowder's a value play you could look to. Royce O'Neal as well has been picking up a lot of minutes off the bench. At 4K on DraftKings, I wouldn't mind going to him, but he is very closely priced to Jay Crowder, and I think Crowder overall is just a better play. But you could still look to Royce O'Neal at 4K. But now moving on to power forward. At this position, the guys that really stand out to me are kind of some of the guys I've talked about. Crowder, you can play here. Montrezl Harrell is probably my favorite play that I haven't talked about. 6K, I like Montrezl Harrell quite a bit. But there's good value here, and you can pay up for Durant here as well. PJ Tucker, I think you can go back to. I liked PJ Tucker last slate. He was okay. I think he had like 25, 26 DK points. You're not going to get like 50 DK points out of PJ Tucker, but at 4,600, you don't really need him to get that much. If he gets you 25, 27, 28 DK points, that's kind of good enough at his price tag. So him and Crowder are both good values. You can pay up for Durant here. Harrell's probably my favorite mid-range play. But now moving on to center. Looking at the center position, I do like paying up here for Rudy Gobert. Gobert's price has dropped a ton on DraftKings. He's only 6,800, which doesn't really make a ton of sense to me. If we look over on Yahoo, his price is relatively cheap as well at 36. I think he's a guy you definitely want to try and pay up for on both sides. And actually, reports have come out that Clint Capella is kind of dealing with like an illness or like a respiratory problem, which could benefit Rudy Gobert. We could see Capella play less minutes, which will benefit Gobert. If Gobert's matched up with Kenneth Faried, that's a much better matchup for him. He only played 24 minutes last game. He did have 4 fouls in that game. It was just a very bad game for Rudy Gobert. Now that his price on DraftKings has dropped all the way down to 6,800, I definitely want to take advantage of this price tag. Gobert just has too much upside to avoid when he's this cheap. Even though he hasn't been that good in this series, he's still a guy that can go out there and give you 45 to 50 DraftKings points with ease, even in a matchup with Capella. I really like Rudy Gobert. I expect a bounce-back game, and I love him on DK where his price is so cheap. on Yahoo, I think he's a good play as well. If you want to save, then you could probably go down to Capella or Harrell if you need the savings, but I would try and get up to Gobert if you can. But that's what I'm looking to for this 2-game NBA slate. These are my 5 plays for DK and 5 plays for Yahoo. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Hopefully it did help you. If you did enjoy, make sure you click that like button down below. Make sure you subscribe if you have not already. And like always, if you do have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, or you can hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT. But yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate you checking out the video, and we'll see you in the next one. Good luck tonight. Peace.